look in the eyes of my
Yo,
without shedding a tear for my brother.
Welcome back to another episode of the InforMILLy Honest Podcast. Four brothers from the Miller neighborhood of Gary, Indiana, coming to you to talk about this motherfucker called life. And no matter where the conversation goes, conversation will always pride itself in being forthright, vulnerable, and to the best of our ability, we're gonna be honest in this bitch. Fellas, how you doing?
Good.
Can't complain.
I'm rocking, man. Yeah, I'm rocking. Hey, Josh, sometime when you cock your head back with during the yo, it looks like you're inhabited by some of the ancestors or something. You know?
Man, I thought
they about to start speaking through you. They about to start speaking through you on some, with some, better get hit with some knowledge, some wisdom that we ain't heard.
You should know I'm always inhabited by the ancestors.
Amen. You're right. My bad on that. Snap some fingers real quick.
But this week has been pretty good. I just got back from Lafayette. My students had their preview show for their full show next month, and so they rocked it out. Really proud of them, and so it's been a decent week.
Same here, man. Same here. Hey, really quick, Adam, you still drive a good bit for your job?
Not as of recently, since we're so slow. So we don't have any jobs going on right now. So I've been in the office, just unfortunately doing admin stuff, which is driving me insane.
Gotcha. Okay. I was about to say, well, talk to my boss real quick and see if we can switch. Because I just met a new family that's an hour and 18 minutes away from me. And I'm just like, yo, is the gas worth the money? Is the gas worth possibly changing your son's life? Is it worth it for me, man? I don't know.
Is traffic pretty bad? Like, are you like stuck in traffic during that time too, or is it like just a smooth?
Yeah, like without the traffic, it might be like 55 minutes to an hour or so.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's just so far away. And the thing is, it's just one of those age-old things where it just so happens that like that's where a good bit of the money and the connections are. So we keep making more connections with people who can actually afford to pay a caregiver enough to survive.
Yeah, no, I get
that. Just so happens to be where it is. I'm like, I need to go meet some people a little closer to home, maybe in like Cardi B's neighborhood, which I've been to. Like, let's meet somebody over there, man, with armed security.
Actually, your only client.
Yeah, right. Anyway, otherwise, your boys meeting new people, getting more clients, so I can't complain. We making it work.
Good sir. Word. Well, we're going to do something that we probably should have done several times in the past, 106 episodes, 105 episodes. But we're going to do it for real this time because, the learning curve is sometimes a little steep. We're going to follow up on a subject that we introduced last episode.
Follow-up time.
Intro theme music. Follow up. Them niggas gonna follow up. And so Marco brought up on the last episode of this idea of what are the factors necessary to what is leadership in a relationship? What are the factors of that are important to that person or couple? And when they're trying to determine, who is leading the family, this group, this couple, what have you. Is that a accurate synopsis?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I believe so. Yeah. We can rock.
So Marco, why don't you start? Because you brought this up. What do you being the family man that you are, if you want to talk about that dynamic, you can talk about other ones. But what do you say is the most important factors to you, and maybe some that you oppose that are like more popular?
Well, I would say I'm trying to stay away from like ranking the what you're supposed to do, but I would probably say the number one thing. do the opposite of what I just said. I would say the number like being able to make the decisions, informed decisions, because a lot of times, like if we leave it up to like what's the word, serendipity.
I was gonna say
fate or some shit.
I think serendipity is more so like a form of coincidence.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Like hoping it will come into place by coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
In a British way.
If you leave it up to that and making decisions, then you're probably not leading well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say like the number one thing, and we could get into some more things, is like actually making decisions and standing on it, and like as they say, living or dying by it. Because a lot of times we'll like in relationships or households, or we'll probably like argue or debate about a situation for a long time and not be able to even go forward with anything. Like cripple yourself. And I think like that's one of the things about being a leader, is like being able to actually make the informed decision and live and die by it. You know, if it fails or not, you took the initiative or whatever, and you did the research. I think that's probably like the number one thing. And we could get into some more things, but
yeah, I can definitely agree with that. That I think as far as like being informed, whether that be research or experience, any dynamic, whether it be platonic or intimate or what have you, I think it's always a thing of who do we know has relative relationship to the situation or the conflict, and then you can go, okay, like I can have enough humility in myself to be able to trust inside of the information that they have and experience that they have. What often is the case is I find people live too much inside of ego, and they're leading by ego as opposed to I think there's a gray between leading and following, or it's a ever shifting relationship with leading and following. And everybody, often you get inside like this, like the male bravado, especially of, oh, I'm the man, so you gotta listen to me and what I say. Well, nigga, you could be wrong, and then everybody got to suffer the consequences because you didn't realize that somebody might have known better than you in that situation.
Yeah, that's a good point, because you basically like with that making decision thing, like you got to know the strengths and weaknesses of whatever relationship it is. And that comes with like being honest and actually knowing like the other person's strengths and weaknesses and being honest together with that. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was gonna piggyback on what you were saying, Marcus. Yeah, about like when like being able to stand on a decision. To me, that comes with the implication that you make a decision. If you're wrong, you learn from it. And then you can, you know, even if it was difficult and you fucked up and you were like, you know, that decision might have killed you. The next day you wake up knowing you got to make another tough decision. And you can kind of, you know, keep that going with the implication that you're actually learning, that you're actually like being straight with yourself. Like,
So
okay.
it's
Yeah, that's how you're actually growing. So I feel like a lot of that is, I agree with you, by the way, but a lot of that to me is with the implication that you're taking accountability along the way. And it's like, you know, that's your own work or our own work, whatever.
Yep. I think a lot of people, like going back to like the leading and following thing, I think a lot of people look at following as a negative. Like it's kind of, in my opinion, at least in my view, I think because people are like, are you a leader or a follower? As if it's a negative things to be a follower. Right. The fact of the matter is not everybody was put here to be a leader. And that's just a fact. And that's not, everybody can't be a leader. Because I mean, we've all heard the expression, you know, it sounds terrible now, but like, you know, there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Obviously, I don't agree with the the direct
the phrasing.
direct framing. But the idea though is like there's too many, in some situations there can be too many people trying to be the boss when in fact you need less voices in the relationship. I mean, and I believe everyone's relationship is different. Like, and like people also approach it as if there's only male female relationships. So what happens when there's a male relationship or a female relationship or a male female relationship, which exists. So there's so many different dynamics in the world.
Yeah, like, only for the lucky few.
There's so many dynamics where like there's no, in my opinion, you can't really say, the man or the masculine figure, and if there is a masculine figure in that relationship, is supposedly, I think, whoever has the qualities to be a leader. And there might be a situation in which both people literally equally make, decisions. Maybe one leads more in this department, and that's it's just there's so many different ways for a relationship to function. And so I don't believe in that whole like the man's going to lead and the woman's going to not do it. I don't really believe. Now, if that is a dynamic for a particular relationship and it works, then great. I think I would say that's probably a traditional, thing. My family is, my parents are basically like that. I think it seemed okay to me. But I realized that that's not the only way for a couple or a family to function. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. There's way too many nuances, I feel like,
Right.
Mm-hmm. And there's always going to be situations where neither one of you where neither one of you know what to do. And it's like, I guess it's an opportunity to like try something new.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Should be.
A different approach. But anyway, my bad, Josh. Go ahead.
No. I kept on thinking you were doing sense. My bad. So yeah, me personally, I look at myself like I'm the sixth ranger in this bitch. I'm not a main character. I show up, get love,
role player.
I'm a role. I at no point like people always take this weird when I say it. I'm like, yo, I'm not the main character. I don't think I can be the main character in subplots and then side missions.
Are you? I'm curious. Are you speaking so specifically to relationships or like your
in
career,
most
like just in general? Most dynamic. Okay.
In most dynamics in which I'm engaging the world on a daily basis, sure, I could be the main character. The game ain't that entertaining, but
I feel you on that. Mine ain't either. Yeah, I feel you on that.
But it's like the episode of Rick and Morty where it's like the game is called like Bob or something, and you just like live Bob's life. Like, sure, yeah. I could. But I'm saying like in relationship to most people that I interact with or jobs that I do and all of that kind of stuff, I show up like Tommy. I get in, R.I.P. Jason David Frank. I come in, I fuck up the city a little bit. Everybody goes, that nigga's amazing. And then I leave the story. Like I don't contribute any more to like character development of the 5 main people.
But I kind of like that. I'm kind of jealous of that because you still leave on top. It's like you still leave. You change somebody's.
I get to make my impression, but yeah. I don't need to be a focal point. Like the whole time anyway.
Yo, you were saying something earlier, like about the ego part.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel that usually is like the dominant aspect of what people think leadership is, because
absolutely
you got to be able to defer. Like we kind of said that earlier. Well, I guess we could bring in the money part, like the fact that a lot of people think that money is the main driver for leadership in a relationship. I guess in like a romantic relationship. I guess due to like traditional values. And the main like thing about that is if you're not able to be like the money maker in a relationship, then is implied that you will soon get disrespected. But I was gonna say like about I forgot my other point.
It's all good. I'll interject to hopefully a point to come back to you. I agree that unfortunately is often going to be like inevitable that at some point whoever's the quote unquote breadwinner is going
you are
to
the weakest link. That's what it feels like.
Like they're gonna talk. They're gonna do something possibly degrading or talk to you real wild because they're like, you know, you don't what do you contribute to in this house and all that kind of stuff. If we just look at this like old sitcom terms, right? What is it? Especially the idea that also always gets introduced is if the woman makes more than the guy, then he's going to get emasculated and he's not going to be the leader of this household. And how can you command your bitch if
going to be in the back of the photo shoot holding his kids?
Like that, like it's always some like weird bullshit where they're like, you know, how you gonna tell your girl what to do if she make more money than you? And I'm like, why is that a goal for you to be able to just tell you?
Yeah,
like,
man.
Yeah, I know.
I remember my other point.
Go for it.
So I was gonna say, like, with the respect, the when we talk about respect in a relationship, I think like your relationship gotta be you gotta have somewhat of the same ideals. Just
Usually.
because
Yeah.
if you don't, then you won't have respect in a relationship. If you leading or not, like, it gotta be that y'all gotta agree on the same ideals somewhat, or it's not gonna be like a deep relationship to me.
I agree, dog. It's almost like a reference sheet. I'm sorry, dog. I thought you were done.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like it's almost like a reference sheet that you create when you guys are in a bit of a more clear mindset. You know, you're a bit more clear, so you can like refer back to it, so to speak. When shit gets challenging and you might see yourself, you know, going astray. Like, yo, this is what we agreed on. We were clear. Like, this is what we and that may change, but the respect part of that doesn't have to change. So, you know. So, you know, anyway. I feel you on that. Yeah.
That ego part get out of control. And at least you have some type of reference to say, hey, like, do our ideals still align?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's a very important question that any relationship should be asked at certain points, like probably like as checkpoints in relationships. Like, hey, do we still have the same ideals? So I'll know you not like deliberately disrespecting me.
Yeah, bro, we had a check-in recently. For real. Yeah.
Oh, you said a check-in. I thought you said we hit a check-in, and I was like, this story was going somewhere.
No. We had a check-in recently. Yeah.
I believe I don't know if it's the Christians, but I'm gonna say it is. I believe the Christians have a term.
It's like those motherfuckers over
there. They refer to that as an unyoked household.
Oh yeah.
Unyoked or yoked?
Evenly,
unyoked.
Gotta be evenly
yoked.
You mean like when one person is like basically following and the other person is not, basically?
I thought it more so meant like the morals, values, and principles of the couple don't align in a way that usually is because it has to do with marriage. That would lead to a long and successful marriage. Yeah. Is usually what that what I believe that was defined as.
Okay.
Yeah.
The couple needs to be evenly yoked as they.
But most of the time they only use that to say like, is this person a believer or not? But
yeah, that's what I thought too.
As we just demonstrated, is much more complex than that. Like,
for sure. It's like, how often are people when they come together actually evenly yoked outside of the willingness to strive for something or get what, you know, one person getting what they don't have and the other person, you know, being willing to do the same, or, you know.
let's make it a little personal. Does money matter to you in your relationship? Like if your chick started making like dramatically more money than you?
Absolutely not. I mean, I'm going to stop you right there. Absolutely not. Like, I would love it, especially if it was enough to where I could sit at home. I welcome that.
Well, to me, like, I would say, I'm not currently in a relationship, but I would say, like,
hypothetically speaking,
yeah. But I'm getting personal now. In my past relationship, I would say that it wouldn't matter to me, but I know that it would get disrespectful in my previous relationship. Even though I've made more, like I would say every year, but that's not like it's not like a huge thing to me, because what's important to me as far as the financial side in the relationship is that you know what I'm doing, like what my plan is. Like if you see me deviating from that plan, then you should check me. But if I'm still following that plan, you should have confidence in that. And if you don't, like that's bad. That's bad. That's kind of in a relationship. Like, you know, like these are the outlines that we had. This is what, and like we said, things can change in a relationship, but like just knowing where you stand, like, but personally, I don't think that would have worked for me. Us, I would say, not me. Yeah. I don't mind as much, but you got to know that other person.
You got to know that other person.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
For me, I think I saw. Go ahead, AW. You good?
You sure? No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, I can say that for most of my relationship, my girl has made dramatically more than me. So it's already the case. It's been the case for some time now. So, and we're still rocking in the free world, you know. Hashtag 8 Mile. But it's been a while, man. I got to bring it up. It's been a while. I think it was like a small sliver of time, like in the very beginning, like less than a year. Maybe like a year, or probably a little less than a year when I was actually making more. But so that has been a reality, and it hasn't really been an issue. In fact, there have been multiple occasions as I like try different things out, and you know, am motivated and inspired, and then lose inspired. You know, going through that cycle of like trying to get shit going, where she's, you know, made it pretty clear, like, yo, I'm making enough now. Like, if it really came to it, you know, I'd be willing to like support us so you can try some shit out. Like, she seems serious now. There's some, I love that, and maybe it was partially the way I just think for me, the money thing is something that I've always wanted to make enough to just be responsible for myself. And like, and I know like a lot of it is growing up. My aunt would always push that, like, yo, when I die, I want to know that you guys are responsible and not needing our help, essentially. You know what I'm saying? You know, just to survive out here. So I have that. And I also have like the fact that I know how, quite frankly, giving Nat and I are. Like, I would like to be able to pay for a full vacation myself. You know what I'm saying? And I would just need more money than I'm currently making to do things like that. So I would want to. So for that, yes, money to me personally would be a big factor, but not in the sense of like me feeling emasculated. Because I mean, it's been 4 years of that. Technically, I think if I'm not emasculated now, then I don't think it's that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not emasculated now, then I just think it's that personal thing. You know. So, I hope that was clear, man.
Oh, absolutely. So I know I said this on the last episode, so I'll reiterate. I'm in no way a sub. But if you want to bitch me out for a couple $1 million, I probably wouldn't care.
Man.
Depends on how much money you're talking, huh?
I said a few mil. You give me like a meal a month.
I mean,
a month. I changed my whole fucking statement. If that's the case.
Yeah.
No,
At first, I thought you meant just a lump sum, and then whatever.
No, yeah. I don't know.
And then you get a little tax on it.
In real life,
if we're talking about, that's a sustainability thing. And I might have to rearrange my morals here.
Yeah, a meal a month. Yo, yeah, my man is living. My man is living free. Free out here.
Comes back from being a sub. You can bounce with the money. You come back.
Yeah, a meal a month, bro. At some point, the student's gonna surpass the teacher for sure.
Sign a 2-year contract.
I'll learn about fun. I'll learn about money. I'll make some investments. You know, that first couple years, it's gonna be rough. You know, I might get pegged a couple times. We don't know.
I'm only doing 2 years. Give me 2 years. I'll save up, and I'm retiring after 2 years. In the game. Yeah, pulling the Andrew Luck.
But no, I truly don't care. As long as it doesn't get like absolutely disrespectful, like little bitch nigga, don't talk to me. I feed you, like, as long as you don't get like degrading about the shit. I truly couldn't care less. And so I don't, that's never gonna be a thing for me. Now you out here being 1,000-dare, you ain't gonna talk to me all crazy. But
yeah,
you know, guys, like a lot of I would say a lot of women would agree with us initially about what we're saying, but let one of your let your dude fall on hard times, and then we'll see. Then we'll see how true that was, right?
I'll only combat that because I've heard this argument before amongst women friends. And it's not necessarily falling on hard times. It's falling on hard times and doing nothing in that interim.
Yeah.
So if you fall on hard times and it shows, and you show that like, oh, I'm still trying to succeed, but it's failing. That's not as bad as, oh, I fell on hard times and let me get this like third bowl of Fruit Loops this morning. Like then,
bruh, that's a very good point. That's actually that's actually the combo. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say that's definitely valid, man. That's valid.
Yeah. I was gonna say like, that's exactly the conversation we had when it was like, yo, if you want to like really try to start something, you know, when we were actually like, okay, let's actually hear each other out here, which was me just hearing her out. It was like, because I'm, you know, of course I'm like, I'm saying worst case scenario, like, you know, like everything is cool now when we're inspired to have this thing, you living high and like willing to help your boy out, love is strong. You know what I'm saying? Everything is cool, but you know, I do think there needs to be a, I don't want to say a limit, but there is that some sort of, I hate to use the word expectation, but there's some sort of limit. There has to be some sort of understanding that you I still got to see you working. And to some degree, I still got to see you trying to push out, because that does, to some degree, that can reflect, okay, in this relationship, are you still willing to work during difficult shit too? Even, you know what I'm saying? That could be a reflection of like, you know, what you might actually do in other situations in the relationship. So.
We could take that to different like aspects of like, not just financially, like if it's something emotionally that you doing that is harmful or toxic and you not working on that, then it's the same thing. We got to reevaluate like, hey, you not really working towards what we trying to get here.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I think check-ins are super important, man, for that very reason, yo. And yo, just a quick thing on that, like going back to like not just the check-ins, but you know, not necessarily, I guess what we're kind of getting at is like getting complacent or just like having sometimes like the understanding I was talking about, like even if it's tough times, is there something in you that shows you're trying to get out of this and you're willing to be creative and do difficult shit that you maybe haven't tried before, if that's what it takes. I do, on the other hand, feel like sometimes you, like, I don't know, I guess this is what therapists are for, but sometimes you need a break from like a life break. I know that's, you know, obviously like the ultimate life break would be death. It's not what I'm getting at.
I'm with you though, A-Dub, like not to interrupt your thought, but
it's okay.
If there was a pause button you could hit, I think a large chunk of mental instability issues could be like, I don't know about solved, but in some form alleviated.
Yeah.
Because there's situations out here where people are like, yo, this peopling thing, like this living shit, I could really do without it if I could just go, you know what? I need to be out for a second. I don't want to end it.
Yeah.
But because there's no alternative besides keep going and exist against my will or peace out this bitch.
Example given. So I had a friend who I felt was at a point, and this is actually when I was living in Indiana. I don't know if everybody came, but I know Jai saw that place I was living at in Chesterton. A little like carriage house situation. Yeah. I had a friend who was having that similar situation, and like I felt like she just needed a safe space. You know what I'm saying? But even then we had to set some sort of boundaries of like, okay, this obviously can't last forever, but while you're here for this certain period of time, I'm not expecting you to get a job. I'm not expecting you to make money and help with the rent or any, straight up. I was just like, I'm not expecting that. Sometimes I'm not expecting you to bend over either. That's what Adam was thinking. That's what Adam was thinking. I saw his face. I'm like, I'm not expecting you to bend over either. Because I do sometimes think like sometimes it's good to just sit back and process how the decisions you've been making are actually affecting you before you just jump into something else without even seeing how you've been affected and how that encouraged the choices you made after that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need that time to reflect, and it's not necessarily conducive to be in another job and in that cycle again. Yep. So I was like, yo, I'm not expecting you to contribute any money, anything. All I ask is that you clean up after yourself. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Little shit like that. So like, but even that had an expiration date, so to speak. Like, obviously this can't last forever. So you still got to keep moving, you know, and, you know, just to end that story, I did have to end our contract early because she wasn't cleaning up after herself, unfortunately.
That's I know, like the easiest thing.
I know. And I'm talking about like I had aunts at the time, so I was like, you can't leave certain shit out. I would come home and there'll be like sugar and just different things just left out, and the ants would be all over the, you know. And I'm like, sugar. I know, like candy and just like spilled sugar and shit. Yeah. Like, is this bitch drinking English tea all the fucking time?
I love that you went to English tea instead of like Kool-Aid. But
I mean, well, she was white, so whatever. But
good point. I almost feel like it should have like a package deal. Like you go, hey, you get a day, you get a week, you could even get up to a year, but depending on how long you do, that says you have like a period before you can re-up. So if you go like, I don't want to exist for a year, the world moves on, you got to not be a person for a year, but you can't re-up this bitch for 20.
No, yeah, that's true. Yeah, like it's almost like you checking in with yourself and being like, all right, So are you ready to, and if you say you're ready now, what steps are you willing to take? Like how, you know what I'm saying? How ready are you right now? Are you ready for the difficult shit or you want to kind of ease back into it? What direction do you want to go there? It seems like there has to be something. You still got to make a decision as difficult as it is, you know?
Yeah.
Fortunately.
But so nope, I lost it. Go ahead, Marco. You have something?
Nah.
Oh, I saw you move. So I was like, maybe
he was like, "Save me, son. I feel you. I've been there."
Freestyle.
Interjecting, we got ourselves a rant today. Hey, been a while. So, short story. This thing happened to me a few weeks back. I go to support a friend who had a show. I'm trying to just be out and be social again because I hadn't done that in a while. I go to this place that has a pool table that doesn't charge you money to play it. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Play some pool. The homie I saw there, I asked him if he wanted to play. He was like, nah, I'm okay. So I'm just shooting by myself. And then this lovely little pink woman comes and starts talking to me. She's like, hey, can I play with you? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we start talking. Next thing you know, I'm trying to, just have a conversation. What brought you out tonight? She tells me her life story about the conflict that she's having at home and how she just needed to get out and all of that kind of stuff and have some time to herself. And I went, okay, now hopefully this doesn't lead into some shit. I don't want him showing up to the bar like you talking to my woman, or some random scenario where you're like, hey, what are you doing tonight? How about you come back to my room? None of that shit happened. But fast forward to after the show, me and the homie that's performing, we dap up, we hug, and we ain't seen each other in a while. He has very special hairstyle where he normally has a fro, but he has straight backs today. But he has like a little bang of locks right here. That's very uncommon. I've never seen anybody with this kind of hairstyle. And so, white woman, I think she got taken over in a moment. And so, out of nowhere, she's just fascinated by it, and her hand just immediately starts reaching to touch his bang. And my ancestors jumped through my body, and I just like unconsciously grabbed her wrist and flung it down. And no one acknowledged it.
That's hilarious.
Like it happened.
Not even her, like the lady herself.
So I think she apologized. I don't know. I was too busy laughing at myself, but like how much of how reactive the whole thing was. But yeah, like
that nobody acknowledged it.
Like I saw Sam's hand, like as the hand was coming toward. I was trying to say his name. As it was coming toward his face, I saw him, like his eyebrow goes up. Like, is this really happening? And like as soon as it got past a certain threshold, my hand just like it just grabbed her wrist, and it wasn't like it like gently pushed down. I threw it into her lap, and my face is going, bitch, why would you? What's happening right now? And I think she went like, oh, I'm sorry. Like she realized, oh no, I'm not supposed to do that, because she's a little liberal white woman who should know better.
It's part of the handbook.
And in the year 2023, you would think that she would just know better, but it was so fast that she didn't realize what was happening. I didn't realize what was happening, and I just thought this was like a hilarious scenario to me, because it all happened so fucking fast, and I just wanted to share that with the family, y'all, and the whole nest, until y'all get a better name. If you want a better name, make one. Until otherwise, you hoes are in a goddamn nest. But yeah, I just want to share this story.
That's great.
I like that.
Me too.
I'm trying to think if there was other factors. So we talked about money.
We missing something in there.
Sex.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Sex.
sex.
Me.
Sex is a big one. Sex is a big one. So,
you ain't getting that spot. You ain't, you ain't hitting that spot.
whose responsibility is it? Is it the quote unquote leader? Is it their responsibility to initiate sex every time?
No, of course not.
Absolutely not. That's
Yeah. I'm not with that. Because I'll say why. Because who is not showing that this is what I don't like in relationships. You don't show what you like. Like, there's a difference between being a leader and like the other person not having a opinion or a preference. I don't like people who don't have preferences or opinions. Like,
yeah,
that's not. I don't like.
It's not human.
It's like you just like. I guess we established that following is not always a bad thing.
Yeah,
but in this aspect, to me, it is like.
Are you saying sex? Are you saying sex specifically when you say in this aspect, Marcus? You're saying sex specifically
or intimacy?
I kind of did change it up.
Yeah.
I did broaden it out from that. So I guess I'll go back into the sex thing. Like, I like you to specifically talking about initiating it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sometimes. Like, I wouldn't even understand that you don't. But in a broader sense, like I don't like when people don't have you don't display who you are, like show some creativity. Like, I need that.
Get on your hands, bitch. No, I agree with you, Marco. I always say, like, if you're in whatever relationship dynamic that you have, initiating is a responsibility of all parties, whether that be 2, 3, 4, what have you. Like, hell, when it's personal, you initiate. You're like, your dick don't tell you, all right, nigga, time to go. Like, you make a decision that this is gonna happen. And so I think it's a responsibility of all parties, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel desired.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to feel like that. Like, by initiating, you're making that other person feel desired. And yes, sure, you could say by that person consenting to it, that would mean that they also feel desired. But I
was just about to use that word, because like the word consent comes into it. Like, if one person is always initiating it, is like, damn, like I feel like it's not mutual almost.
Yeah.
I mean,
that makes sense.
I can completely get how that could feel that way, especially with all the deprived people out there who just be having sex with like no regard for what they actually enjoy in the act. I was going to get to that part too, but yeah, like when you talk about people who don't have like opinions or preferences or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of. Yeah, I'm sorry. I get what you're saying. Kind of, or at least it appears that the person is just going through the motions at that point. It's like, I mean, are you interested or not? You know, I think that's the.
Yeah, that's the general gist of it. Going like, that's so sad to me when I hear these like major statistics of like the average woman out there has never had an orgasm at the age of 45, and I go, that's incredibly saddening to me.
I think that goes back to the like traditional roles that we have had, because it is like the male in like pursuing a woman. I'll say specifically, the male, you know, usually is like the pursuer or whatever. I think we talked about this in traditional roles.
Yeah.
So with sex, it it translates to that too. But we don't always want that. Like, I mean, sometimes we need it the other way. So, you know, I guess you have to have like what you guys agree on in the beginning, maybe. So, you know, but we know we could change also. So
that shit evolves.
yeah.
If y'all still fucking the same way 5 years later, that's crazy to me. Unless you came in on a 10. And even then, like, you already started with, anal on like the first date.
Shit.
Then by 5 years in, some shit gotta be wild at that point. Like, but
yeah, man. God damn.
Clown suits.
What is it called? The furries, whatever.
Oh yeah, that's
finding patches in botanical gardens and like it's gotta like shit has to evolve. I don't get that.
Yeah, just dropping your spores everywhere and shit. Oh, that's great, man.
So even beyond that, so we have money, we have sex. What do you think is like the next like most important factor inside of this? Like we could even say like healthy relationships for you.
I would say I guess this could. I was gonna say something like, things like trust and vulnerability. Of course, they kind of go hand in hand.
But boils down to communication.
Yeah. So I think communication, of course, and I would put that in this. I would put that in the category of intimacy that doesn't necessarily have to involve sex. You know. Yeah.
So have you ever been in?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I've been seeing this come up lately, and hopefully it's not too much of a veer off, but been seeing these conversations about like it's even on the subject of this whole emasculization thing that we've been talking about these last couple of weeks. Niggas ain't allowed to do nothing. I've heard what is the one I heard most recently? Fuck. I've been hearing random shit of like, oh man, he looked at Google Maps. That nigga gay. Like it's like you out here, you ain't just navigating with your personal compass. Like you gotta be out here listening.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like it's just this kind of thing. So have you ever had that kind of relationship?
Real men count on themselves. Like,
have you been in any of these kind of relationships or related to someone where they said something like mad crazy to you, or you weren't allowed to feel an emotion or express a feeling that, like, have your feelings validated and all that? Like, have you had any kind of stuff like that? And I know that's probably a hard question to ask with Adam been in his relationship for the past 35 years. Yeah.
And my girl being in the same room. Yes, that's just
let her know.
Well, for me, obviously, I'm gonna. I don't have any stories like that, but I can because luckily I'm in a relationship where I can be, myself, and I can not be a manly man 24/7, and that's allowed. In fact, if we have time, I have this kind of interesting story where when I went to Virginia, it was last spring, because I wanted to go see my nephew graduate high school. So we drove. So we rented a car. We drove to Virginia, and in the process, we drove through Dayton, which for me is a big deal because that's where I was born. And I was adopted. My parents. Yeah, I was born in Dayton, Ohio. Obviously, I was adopted, but that's where I was actually born. So that was a big deal for me because I hadn't been there since I was born. So,
LeBron fan by not by choice. I feel like
no,
I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing.
But I didn't say anything. It was just kind of intrinsically, just internal. I was like, oh, cool, and we drove through, Anyway, so we get to Virginia and seeing family and this whatever. One night, because we actually bought edibles here and took them there, but illegally, obviously. But so one night,
allegedly,
yeah. So one night we're in the Airbnb. We split it with my sister. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Anyway, we're in the bedroom, whatever. Edibles. We're watching. He's watching. I don't know if it was stand-up comedy, but I just started crying. And I was like, it's just like, and when I say crying, I mean like just letting it just
like balling.
uncontrollably. And then I was like, and I couldn't really figure out why. And then I just started like, just kind of like in my high thoughts, started thinking. And it was because I believe to this day, it was because of the whole, like the dating thing, like driving through. And I didn't actually express how that actually made me feel, and like being adopted and never actually meet my biological parents. But the point of the whole story was like, I was able to be in that state and not be judged for it. You know, she was very just like supportive and heard what I had to say. And she wasn't like, you a bit, you know, like, you know, and I know a lot of women, I know for a fact, there would be a lot of women that would be turned off by that. I know that, you know, so I can say the opposite, like that I'm able to just be a human being. And it's not like, you know, but and what I found out is I actually cry not often, but I have a higher chance of crying high than I do when I'm sober. And because that's not the first time that's not the first time that's happened. Not to that extent, but just like maybe I've been thinking about something else and I just start crying out of nowhere. Yeah. But
that's not that surprising though.
Yeah,
I completely with that.
So make you introspective.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah, dog.
Thank you for that, Al.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, man.
That's wonderful. Yeah, straight up.
Do what I can.
Man, I was gonna. It's funny. I'm glad he told a sweet story because my shit's about to make me look real bad. But no, it ends well. But I was gonna say I was the aggressor, I guess you could say, like because I had to just accept that I had issues with crying. So I remember, not in this relationship, but in my previous one, which we all know, I was like the aggressor who later, like I said, realized I had issues crying. So whenever there were times when she would cry and I would like get angry, like, yo, you know, something, I'm paraphrasing, but you fucking crying, like you crying again or whatever. So I was the one like shaming her essentially, you know, because I later realized that I had an issue with crying. And there was one particular moment here when, like, which stood out to me because it was one of the first times that I remember outside of like being alone watching a movie or some shit or being around someone who I was comfortable with, when I was around a bunch of people and I was crying and I had a moment where I realized, oh, I'm actually okay with this. I'm not resisting like I normally do. And that was like rare for me. It was my last day. It was actually in 2019 when I left Trees Atlanta before Nat and I went on our adventure, you know, traveling. And like they brought out like a gift or whatever for me. And I started crying. I couldn't look at the gift without crying. And it hit me like, oh shit, I really used to believe that I was like, you know, I was a sucker or whatever, you know, like even when conceptually or theoretically, I knew it was silly to believe that because my aunt never taught me that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I knew that. You know, knowing something conceptually doesn't mean anything if there's something else in you that's like, nah, fuck that. Crying is you know that was definitely a wall or a block or whatever. And it was that moment where I realized like, oh, I haven't cried in front of people who I'm not comfortable with. I don't remember the last time, and I was actually okay with it. So I was the aggressor, and then I was the one crying. I had to like, you know, acknowledge that I was on some bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, you know, that, you know, that we basically have, not everyone, I'm not saying everyone is in the same boat, but me, at least, I've had to learn how to cry as an adult, you know, because, you know, as a young boy, I mean, we always hear, you know, boys don't cry. Why are you crying like a girl? Like for our entire childhood, that's what we hear. So we think that you're not supposed to do it. So then when you know, become a grown man, you're watching a movie and you can't even react to it because, you know, you can't, but you choose not to because of, you know, X amount of years of saying you're not supposed to do that thing. So it's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, yo, straight up.
I hear that. I be crying now.
Well, now I do. Now, you know, now funny, I let it flow.
What's unfortunate is I don't often cry when I feel like I should. Like I could feel the feeling of wanting to cry, but like tears won't come out.
Like that stinging feeling where it's like somewhere in your face it stings. Is that just me?
No, I know what you mean.
I definitely have.
No, not necessarily that, but more so like like where you just feel like that part where like the emotions well up. It almost feels like it gets like caught in like the side of my neck.
Okay,
but it doesn't necessarily sting in my face.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't even know where it's coming from, but it's just up here somewhere. But
and then
something in this northwest region.
And my eyes will even get like watery, but they won't like I won't cry. I have to like blink vigorously to get like one of these tears to come out. But let like the slightest breeze hit my eyeball, and next thing you know, it's just tears everywhere. But no, I've been blessed and fortunate enough to not necessarily have those kind of dynamics in relationships. And especially my last relationship, she was extremely caring in that regard. And so I got to really feel my feelings most of the time, or figure out my feelings most of the time, even if I failed in fully figuring them out. And so, yeah, I have been in arguments with people who say crazy and dumb things. But not necessarily in any romantic relationships in any like recent times anyway. Especially because I've been dancing for 25 years. Like I wish somebody would say something like, you know, you can't be doing that. That's gay. And I'm going to go like, I just know my response is not going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
It's such a silly thing, man. It's such a, like, I remember when I was at the table, like that day I was talking about crying, like I shook my head and my homie was like, yo, what's up? You good? And I was like, I can't believe, I was like shaking my head at myself. Like, I can't believe I actually had an issue with this. You know, it feels so fucking good. It's such a light feeling afterwards. It's like one of those things where you immediately feel the relief. You know, like, I actually let something go. Like, oh, and then I had to realize, as I began, which is what I was getting at, like when, which is my guess of when Adam was saying like he was high, it's easier to do it. I feel like you're more relaxed and shit. And like, you know, your body can only hold, it feels like it can only hold so much energy before it has to like, something has to give, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I realized like throughout these last few years, at least in my experience, that the shit that's like, the shit that I repress the most is like skin deep. It's right there waiting for me to be like relaxed enough or open enough or receptive enough. And that's the shit that comes out first when I like am introspective, just, you know. But
I wish I had that light feeling at the end of crying.
How do you feel?
Like a bitch. No, I usually don't. I usually either feel heavier or I don't feel anything. It's just like, oh well, that happened. Moving on. Like, I don't ever find reprieve in crying. Even my happy cries, I'm not like, oh my God. Like I feel the overwhelm of the joy, but like I had a happy cry last time I was in South Africa because like I was like, oh, I paid my way to get here. I'm at this black ass music festival. It makes no fucking sense why there's this many beautiful women around me. And I can't stop talking in this accent that I know is not authentic. I'm just sitting over like I'm just talking to this horrible South African accent, and everybody's going, "Where are you from?"
But Josh, you have felt that before, though, right? I guess I'm not asking.
Felt what?
As in, like, because to me that light feeling also comes sometimes when I get a really, really hearty laugh or something. You know, like sure. I feel better.
I guess I don't associate that feeling, so it's hard for me to go like, oh, that's the light feeling.
Got you. Okay.
Like when I get a good laugh, I'm high. Like I feel my teeth vibrate when the laugh gets too good.
Yeah.
But
on this podcast every week.
So always grateful for those moments. But we'll wrap it up there. Marco, did you have anything you want to say on that before I do?
No, just pretty much agree with y'all. I was gonna say like about like what happens after you cry or whatever or show extreme emotion. I would go to say like it is kind of like a breakthrough for me too. Like I have that feeling of like I solved something, or like something in my brain just connected why I feel a certain way. Because like Adam said, like, or Adam kind of had an example of he didn't in his mind at the time process or connect certain things like this hits the spot here for me because of this reason and know why exactly at the moment. So when we kind of like bottle up our emotions or something like that until we have to let it go. But whatever, maybe it's like your subconscious doing it. I don't know, but I think it like connects. It makes connections and it's like a problem solver almost.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
I would say like I don't cry that much, but it is like something that I don't. I don't. You don't want to just. I don't know. I don't. It's not that I hold back. It's just like I don't know.
You don't do it when it doesn't feel natural. Like if it's coming, it's coming. But like, damn, let me clear that up.
I mean, you know, when it's coming, it's coming. No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm more so asking, not telling for you. I'm more so.
Wait, ask again.
Yeah, I was just saying. Are you saying that when it happens naturally, you're okay with it, but you're not trying to like force the shit or whatever? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Word up. Well, you know how to find us, InforMILLy Honest Podcast at gmail.com and InforMILLy Honest everywhere. We appreciate you. We love you, fellas. Last thoughts.
Man, we gotta get high together and cry.
Yo, I'm about this.
Yeah. Big facts. I'm down for that, man.
Definitely down for that. I'm sure there's some shows coming up. Aaron, you said you're gonna be here next week. Did you say that?
What? I don't believe
I made that shit up. I don't know why I felt like you said you'd be up here.
I don't believe I exclaimed that.
cut this part out.
I wish, bro. I wish.
He prophesied.
Yeah, I'm gonna be driving 4 hours to get to my destination next week. So,
Word. Well, yeah, we can definitely do that. I got a bunch of gummies that I'm pretty sure expired, but they still work. And so, every connection that you have, every connection that you make, every conversation that you have, and every person that you engage with, we empower, implore, and encourage you to be forthright, vulnerable, and do your giggity god damn it at best of this. To be honest.
That's right.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace and much love to you.
Without shedding a tear for my brother, I really want to try for my brother, 'cause I truly do feel for my brother.